Hello and welcome to a new Cradle Bytes episode. Today, William Van Magnen is joining me. He's an American journalist and he's an investigator writer for the Cradle. Hi, William. How are you? Fine.
Hey, I'm doing okay. How are you, man?
I'm good. Of course, today we should speak about what happened in Gaza. Today morning, Israel reignited the war and they started to bomb all of Gaza from south to the north. And of course, what Trump did, which is he started a new air campaign against Yemen, although he said that he's like the man of peace and he will end all wars and that America is first. So I want to hear your opinion regarding these 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been Trump's rhetoric is that he will say he wants to end these wars, whether it's in Syria or Ukraine, and then even allegedly in Gaza. And then, the opposite happens. And this is just classic, like how it goes with all US politicians. When they're trying to get elected, they say one thing, and then everything they do after they get elected is the complete opposite. And it's just an indication that really there's no democracy in the United States. Our politicians are totally controlled, and in the case of Trump, it's the Israel lobby and Israeli influence that he is subservient to. I mean, whatever he Netanyahu wants him to do, that's what he's doing, and so we see that here with the attacks on Ansar Allah in Yemen. It's a strategy. With Trump, that's what we see. He made all these promises to end these wars, and then when he gets in to office, of course, we just see that he expands them.
Yeah. It's as you said, it happened with every single American president, and unfortunately, most of the wars that they carried on, at least in the past few decades, are in West Asia or in the Arab world, and that's what's happening now. Also, yeah, Yemen is not the first time that it's not the first president who bombs Yemen. Obama bombed Yemen, Bush bombed Yemen, and now Biden. I think they only use drones. And at the end, of course, the end of last year, they started to bomb military facilities in Yemen. And now Trump, the first bombing, he killed more civilians, more than what Biden killed in the last year, which is also concerning. But of course, yesterday in Gaza, without any notice, they started to bomb not only infrastructure, they started to bomb also tents, and we saw many people died because were sleeping inside tents and they are like burned alive. And of course, we know it's Ramadan, which is a holy month for Muslims and especially for Arabs, yani. And it's they can't even stop or prevent Israel to launch or to reignite war until Ramadan ends. I don't know if anybody can pressure Israel, yeah, from the Arab world or from the United States, or maybe that was the plan from the beginning. Because yesterday when they started this air campaign, I was still awake and I didn't sleep. I was thinking, was the did they want, to take some of the prisoners? Because we know that Trump said that I will open. I forgot what he said, but he said that he will open hell on
Open the
Gaza or
gates of
whatever.
hell, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
open. Is this the plan? Is this the gates of hell that Trump talked about? And do you think from the beginning they want to take some of the prisoners and then reignite the war? Or you think really something happened with the negotiations? Because for me, I think maybe from the beginning that was the plan because as we can see, Netanyahu doesn't want to stop the war because he's afraid to go to prison. Now I'm convinced 100% of this.
Well, I think there's the aspect of Netanyahu's personality. As you mentioned, he wants to avoid prison. But it's also just been the plan from the beginning is that the Israelis, before 7th of October, have wanted to basically destroy Gaza, make it uninhabitable, to force Palestinians to suffer so much that they literally beg to leave Gaza and allow the Israelis to annex it and rebuild Jewish settlements there. I mean, that's been the Israeli plan from the beginning. So Hamas has these Israeli captives, which has been a thorn in Netanyahu's side. In fact, his son, Yair Netanyahu, wrote on Twitter shortly after 7th of October that he was angry at the Israeli Air Force because they didn't do their job and kill all of the Israeli captives that Hamas was taking across the border. Netanyahu's son was angry and said that Israeli Air Force did not do their job by killing all of the Israelis that Hamas managed to take across the border. So ever since the beginning, Netanyahu has had zero interest in returning the captives. It's only because there's domestic pressure for him to do that that they kind of make a pretense of trying. And again, the Israeli army has killed at least 40 Israeli captives since then, of the captives that were successfully taken by Hamas to Gaza. Of the 251, the Israelis killed through bombing and quote unquote fire at least 40 of them. So this whole process of negotiations over the past year and a half that we've seen, it's been the pattern over and over again. There's negotiations, Hamas agrees to something, and then Netanyahu immediately sabotages it and seeks to resume the war. It's happened over and over again. Even in the Israeli press, they acknowledge it. The Israeli opposition, they talk about how Netanyahu has tried over and over to sabotage each ceasefire agreement that Hamas reaches with them. So I think what you said is exactly correct, that this latest ceasefire agreement that was supposed to be two phases, the Israelis said, or Netanyahu said, look, okay, we'll make an agreement. We'll get a few more of our captives back because I'm under domestic pressure to do that. But then we'll just sabotage the second phase of the agreement and we'll go right back to war, go right back to slaughtering, go right back to killing. And of course, Trump is on board 100%. Even the few bombs, even the few 2,000-pound bombs that Biden had held up. I mean, again, Antony Blinken went to great lengths to send the Israelis as many weapons as he could. But even the few bombs that the Biden administration held up, Trump immediately approved sending them. And all indications are that Trump is a warmonger that wants to continue the war because he's working for the Israelis. I mean, that's the reason he got elected, is based on their support, and that's their he's trying to implement. And on top of that, the that want to annex the West Bank, Bezalel Smotrich, again, they were celebrating when Trump got elected. They said, this is our opportunity to annex the West Bank. And we've seen, again, the Israeli actions in the West Bank escalate, where they're totally destroying some of these refugee camps, Jenin, for example, trying to depopulate them, and the settlers just are giddy and excited about the possibility of annexing the West Bank. So again, hopefully Americans are just seeing again that our government is totally powerless. There's no such thing as making America great again. There's no such thing as America first. I think a lot of people are understanding that, and this is just with Trump allowing the Israelis to just incinerate another 400 Palestinians or 500 Palestinians in one night for no reason at all. I think, hopefully more Americans are waking up to that. And on Twitter, you see some indication of it, and hopefully that's, the case.
The Americans or all the presidents, they either continued or ignited wars, and most of them, at least after Kennedy, they did everything that Israel wanted. I don't see the real democracy in that. You know what I mean? And I don't think, nowadays, I'm thinking like the United States, or I know it's powerful and there's a lot of money there, but the system that rules the United States, I don't think it's from any other country, like even countries in West Asia or North Africa, because the government is the opposite what the people want. Although, okay, you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of action. You can't do anything. You know what I mean? Even in the Arab world, at least, or from year to year, they have the courage, or they have like the ability to go to the streets and protest. And sometimes these protests, let's forget that sometimes they are aided by the West, but sometimes this leads to the resignation of a president. You know what I mean? I feel in the United States this might never happen. You know what I mean? And I don't think, even if the whole United States doesn't want Trump, Trump will remain president.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, and I've been traveling in the Middle East for most of the past like 2.5 or 3 years. And I've only been home for a couple of weeks now in the US again. And it's shocking. Like, life is getting much, much worse here. Everything is so expensive. Food gotten crazy expensive. Homes are so expensive. People now that didn't buy a home 5 years ago, they can't even imagine doing that. Anyways, the quality of life in the United States has deteriorated a lot, and so that just kind of shows the contrast again, where every politician we have, the first priority they have as soon as they get elected, the first press conference they make is to say, hey, how can we support Israel? How can we send more money to Israel? And in many cases, how can we send more money to Ukraine? And the Americans are saying, what
What
is
about
what is the
us?
point? Like, what is a government supposed to make life better for its own citizens? And in the United States now, I mean, I think it's been this way for a long time, but it's just much more clear and obvious now that our government literally, like, they do not care at all about American citizens, and they just want to send money abroad for various reasons, corruption, influence. They're just serving different interests. And again, the main interest Trump serves is Israel. So I just think it is becoming more and more obvious, and hopefully more and more people are becoming aware of it.
Yeah, hopefully, because previously I think يعني, there was not such يعني, there were no a lot of there were not a lot of problems inside the United States. I mean, now there's a lot of problems, and still they are willing to go overseas, send weapons, send the aircraft carriers, give money to like hostile nations such as Israel. I don't know what will lead to. William, thank you, and thanks for our viewers. Hopefully, we will do more of these bites every now and then. You have anything to say, William, before we close?
No, I think that's it. I mean, again, it's just horrific to watch what's happening in Gaza. And I was with one of my best friends. He's from Gaza last night. I only get to see him usually once or twice a year. And as we were just sitting and talking and having coffee, he pulls up on his phone, "Oh my God, they just killed 100 people." And yeah, I don't know. It's just horrific. I don't know what else to say. But
I know, me too. There's no words for this. It's like this never happened in the history. I think it's too much. It's too much. Okay, man. Thank you, and thank you, our viewers.